First topic of the show. We're going to get right into it. Celtics, will they complete the 0-3 comeback? Man, oh man. Dehls, the floor is yours, and I'm hoping that I'm hearing a spicy take. I don't want any reserved Dehls, humble. I want you to really tell how you feel.
Look at us, man. Look at us. Who would have thought we would be here sitting 3-2 with an opportunity to win in Miami, to go back to Boston for Game 7. And
Riv, look him in the eyes when he's talking.
Riv wants nothing to do with me, and I don't blame him because I've been talking my shit to Riv because he's been ditching it out a lot. These first 3 games of the series, really nasty work by the Celtics. Got to give credit to Miami, of course, but I mean, it was some of the worst shooting I've seen all season long by this team.
Where's the credit?
And I just said they deserve their credit. They were making their shots. They were playing good defense, playing connected. And Mazzulla had a really interesting quote after the game yesterday. He said he was talking to one of his assistants, and the NBA is a 9-month season, and the Celtics just had one bad week. And sometimes that it is. And they had a bad week at probably the worst time in the season where the shots weren't falling. Defensively, they were not locked in. Mazzulla looked over his head at times. And all of a sudden, that seemed to turn around in Game 4. There's reports going around saying the Celtics team, the players had a dinner together. They came together. And, when you're down 0-3, it really goes to show what type of character you have and, what this team is really made of. What is that heart and soul? Do these guys actually do hate each other, which has been some very fishy reporting out there saying that they're tired of pretending to like each other. And it's some real nasty work out there. But as I'm sitting here 3-2, I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling really good that we go into Miami, take Game 6, go back to Boston, and close it out. Why not? Joe Mazzulla, who should be fired, undefeated in an elimination game so far. We know what Jason Tatum does in an elimination game. He shows up. I know Riv doesn't like to give him his credit because, why are we going to count this outlier Game 4 performance of fourth quarter Tatum? He shows up when it matters most. You remember that 50-piece in Game 7 against Philly? He shows up when it matters most. Game 6 in Miami, we're ready. The shots are falling. This defense looks very reminiscent of last year's defense. The players, all of a sudden, they miss Ime so much. They're down 0-3 to Miami. Screw all that nonsense. They're back in. They're playing defense. They're causing turnovers. They're making their threes. If they do this for 2 more games, they're going to the finals.
Don't forget, Dehls, to get your pass for the pool at the house.
I know, I got to.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to go or do you want to go?
He's deflecting.
No, I'm actually.
He's worried.
No, I'm not worried. I just find it. Dehls said an important quote.
He was riding on his high horse.
We've come a long way, and I think it's funny that you said that because I remember at this table before Game 1, I was the lone pick to pick Miami, and I was very confident in the pick. I loved the story. Now we're here. 5 games later, and the story, Joel seems to love this story. Who could have done it besides them, right? The story seems great. Dehls, you guys had 2 great games. I won't knock it. They played amazing.
Pretty perfect.
You guys were great. Perfect. Damn near perfect. Miami wasn't good. You guys got back to that defense that you looked like you had last year. Offensively, you guys got it going. Jason Tatum was on point. Marcus Smart was on point. Derek Wright was amazing. I give credit where credit is due. But we cannot forget how Miami played those first 3 games. And I think that's something that they can still tap into. Now, going into Game 6, the pressure's all on them. I think it's pressure on Boston, but I think it's way more pressure on the team that was obviously up 3-0. The whole noise of them not being a better team went away after 3 games. You were up 3-0. At that point, you look like the better team. The pressure's on you. You lose 2 straight. Now you're going home to Game 6. The pressure's on Spo. The pressure's on Jimmy. It's been on Jimmy ever since he's been tweeting and Instagram and going crazy, as deserved. Now you got all this hype about you, about being this great player in the postseason, all this. Now the hype is real. The pressure is there. And I think the way that you guys adjusted in terms of breaking the 2-3 zone that Miami has been giving teams death for a long, long time. You guys have figured that out. I think that's important. I think the next step is, what is Spo going to counter with? I think with the team he has right now, he doesn't have many counters, but he's been giving you guys hell for the most part for back-to-back seasons. Now, what can he give you in Game 6 that you guys haven't seen? You guys have seen each other for so long. You guys pretty much know each other. What can he do? What can Bam and Jimmy do? And I think at this point, this is a do or die for them. I think Game 6, they're going to come out to play, and I'm not worried at all. You thought I was worried. You thought I was puzzled.
You're taking that Jimmy Butler approach. Like, we're not worried. We're going to sit back, have some beers and wine, listen to music.
I've never been worried in my life.
Okay.
I never fear.
Never.
Game
what
6.
I find so interesting about Riv.
Talk to me.
Is that, man, Clippers eliminated in the first round. Cavs eliminated in the first round.
Oh no, he's not.
The Warriors eliminated in the
He's
second
not doing this
round.
to you.
Oh,
And you know
man.
what? Riv thought he was safe. All 11 of his teams were out. And he said, you know what? I'm riding the 8th seed. Out of all teams, the 8th seed, they're going to do it.
Good story.
But guess what? They're going to be out too. So 12 teams total that Riv has rooted for will be eliminated.
Half of them aren't good.
Say my team.
Teams are 0
I don't know, bro. You
150.
edited the tweet. You edited the tweet and you had the Miami. I don't
It's
listen,
trolling, it's trolling.
Rav. You can't just always take the trolling route.
It's Twitter. We have fun. It's Twitter. We have fun.
Teams are 0 and 150 when trailing 0-3. It's about to be 1 and 150. The Celtics are coming back, and they're going to win this series. Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart said, don't let us get one. Jimmy Butler has been making a lot of guarantees this season. I'll give him props because very early on when they were struggling, he said the Heat would still win the championship. And a part of me is like, you know what? I kind of believe Jimmy to an extent. A very little part of me because we know he can turn it up. But ultimately, the guarantee he made after the Game 5 loss,
Did you believe him?
when he said, somewhat,
I don't believe you.
somewhat,
Not a chance in hell. I
at the
believe you.
time when he said it, no. But as this playoff run went along, I'm like, you know
might be on
what?
some shit.
Okay,
Damn
that's
it.
different. That's different.
After Game 5 losing, he said, we'll win Game 6. He said they're going to win this series. No, he's not. Jimmy Butler is not.
Like
He's not winning this series.
He wasn't supposed to win the next one.
And how fitting
Wasn't supposed to win the
will
Bucks
it
one.
be
Wasn't
for
supposed to
one
beat
of the
Bulls.
best playoff performers of our generation to blow the first 3-0 lead in NBA history?
No, it would be
Oh, a
nasty.
lot of people are going to have to do some answering to those nasty takes because people act like Jimmy Butler's career was just 4 years in Miami. No, he had a career before that. I'll acknowledge in Miami he's been nothing short of a superstar, but his career has been longer than that.
Yeah.
So let's respect other players who have had
Like
better
who?
resumes for a longer time. I'm not getting into that right
Who?
now.
Like who?
But the Heat will blow the first 3-0 series lead in NBA history. And I will say this, to the Heat's credit. No Tyler Hero, no Victor Oladipo. That definitely changes this
No
series
Gabe
a lot.
Vincent.
No Gabe Vincent now. So the fact they made it this far, very impressive. But my goodness, Celtics coming back, this was best case scenario I could have asked for. I love this story. This is a better storyline than the AC making the ECF.
This is that's okay. I know you want to go. I really do.
Go ahead, man. I'm
But the
having fun.
hating from the left side of me is just getting nasty.
It is.
They went from getting smoked by Atlanta in a play-in game, coming into the playoffs, beating the Bucks.
Almost lost to the Bulls in that second game.
Don't forget,
Yeah.
92-89 with like 4 minutes left. They were holding on for dear life. Went on a run.
As one of your teams got eliminated in there,
Yeah,
too.
I don't want to bring up your teams. I'm just going to continue to talk about the Heat. Then they went on to the Bucks. They beat the best player in the world. They beat the best player in the world, and Jimmy outperformed the best player in the world and destroyed the best perimeter defender in the league.
To the point where people started to say,
But
is
boy,
he overrated
he
now?
talked about after the post, I might retire after this contract. That's how bad he destroyed him. And then goes to the second round. You pick the Knicks. You 100% picked the Knicks.
Am I gonna pick against my team? I'm sorry. I thought they would win regardless.
You picked
but
the
even
Knicks.
if I thought there was some
and
doubt,
you
I would
lost.
still pick the Knicks.
You lost. You
picked the
lost
Knicks,
6
too.
games.
I
You
thought
lost
that
the
was
6
better.
game. Jimmy
picked
missed
the
the game.
Knicks.
I sure did, and that's when the story stopped. That's when I remembered the story. The
caught.
hating from you is nasty. Just respect the Heat.
It's not hate. All I said was, Dehls, can I ask you
Now,
a question?
also, not just respect Jimmy Butler. Trying to throw this whole narrative on just Jimmy
And
Butler.
then throwing the shade as if James Harden. I know you're talking about James Harden.
That's exactly
Jimmy
what
Butler's
he's
got to
talking
show
about.
off these next 2 games.
Jimmy's last
100%.
If Jimmy Butler's having a stinker like
Jimmy's
game
last
5,
4 years with Miami rivals James Harden's career in the playoffs. And I know you hate that, but it's just a fact.
Did he face Golden State
He
fully
didn't
powered?
need to. He faced the Bucks. You
Did
know
he
what he
face
did to the
Golden State
Bucks?
fully-
You know what he
That's
did to
facts.
Drew
The
Holiday?
Bucks, a team that you think they're frauds.
You didn't think they were frauds.
You thought
They're
they
not
were.
frauds.
I didn't think they were
They're
Now,
not
Dehls, I want to
frauds.
ask you this question. All I said was,
You thought they're frauds.
What's a better storyline, right? What's a better storyline?
The 8th
The
seed.
8th seed making the conference finals or the first
finals.
team to ever come back from an 0-3 deficit?
Got it.
This is
3-0's
wait,
comebacks
wait,
got it.
no.
Keep it a buck.
We've never seen NBA history.
The 8th seed losing a play-in game, then going to the playoffs, making the finals is not a better story than the number 1 team, number 2 team in the East going down to the 8th seed 3-0 and then coming back. That makes sense to you?
If they complete the first ever comeback,
So
first
it's
ever
a better
0-3 comeback in NBA history,
especially after that game 3 where we get smoked.
Yeah, so look, wait, you didn't exceed expectations. You went down 3-0. You fumbled yourselves. Then you had to crawl out the mud to do it. And Miami's been having to crawl out the mud for 2 months. That's the better story?
I
you
think
see what
so.
type
You're
of hating
making,
is
you're
going on?
making
You're a
NBA
Celtics
history.
fan, so
You're making NBA history doing it.
What Miami is too.
It's been done before.
They have.
I guess.
It has been done.
By the Knicks.
Hey, the Heat are a great story regardless.
It's tough,
It's
dude.
tough to say just outright.
No.
They're
I'm not
going
going to sit here and say immediately.
Okay,
I think I mean the
we might be getting
Celtics.
ahead of ourselves, but who would be a better finals matchup, Nuggets Heat or Nuggets Celtics? If the Heat make this comeback, or if the Heat go to the finals, 8 seed, and then they go to Denver and they lose in 5, are we like, what a story? Or it's like, no, they got smoked out.
Yeah, we know the Heat are going to get smoked out in the finals.
Wait, so what? But what if you guys lose? We're gonna say what a story.
Boston is not going to get
smoked.
smoked.
No, I'm asking.
Boston's not getting smoked.
I'm asking.
Boston is not
who would be a
getting
better
smoked.
matchup
Put
for
the
Denver?
jinx on the
Nuggets. That's what I'm saying.
But if you make the finals, we would say, well, you were supposed to be here.
I agree.
If the Heat make the finals, we say this is a magical
after going
story.
down 3-0, we're supposed to be here?
I mean, they still had y'all projected to
Nah,
win
that's
games,
a
bro.
fact. He's right.
You win games, yes, but not
No,
the
in the
series.
in the series, they still had y'all
series.
projected to win games. And
That's ESPN analytics on some bullshit. If you go to a sports book and actually try to bet, we were heavy underdogs to try to win the series when we're down 3-0.
I mean, because it's never been done. But the Miami Heat, if you touch down on when they was AFC, they were heavy underdogs to make the finals.
I don't want some ESPN analytics shit saying we have a 75% chance to win because we know it's bullshit.
I mean, the 97-3 before the series was
also
nasty.
stupid as fuck.
It was nasty.
I mean, this happened.
Let me ask you guys a question. Coming into this series, would have you been surprised if the Celtics swept the Heat?
Yes.
I would have been surprised.
If they beat them in 5?
They
Yes.
they went 6 games
Like,
with
not
the
as surprised
Hawks.
as 4-0,
They
but I would
went
be like
down 3-2 to Philadelphia. They almost lost.
Yeah, if they went 4-2 with the Hawks, they wasn't.
Call me
beating.
crazy.
And then they
Heat
go
in
3-0
5
down.
games.
Like, you
Yeah.
can't tell me that before the series. I would have been shocked if it would have been a
can't sweep
sweep from
anybody.
the
I-
No.
Call me
Except the Nets
crazy.
last year.
Yeah, not good.
But I look at Boston
fuck?
and I
The
look
Nets
at
did that.
Miami and I say if Boston plays to their potential, they can win 4
That's
games
the
in a
thing.
row.
Correct.
Okay,
But
and that's why I think they're
does
going to win
not
this
play to
series.
their potential.
All right. Yes.
The potential shit's
If
dead.
Boston
Yeah, it is.
finally, for some reason, decides to play 4
They've
straight
been doing
games
it for the
of
last 2 games.
Yeah,
and they
they
can
have,
continue
yes.
doing
But
it.
that's
do
the
it for-
problem.
gotta do it for 2 more.
They have never shown us
They
that they
lack
can do that for 4 straight
consistency.
games.
For sure.
They lack
They do.
And
consistency.
Dehls, you had the stat. Open threes, first 3 games. Heat 20 for 37, 54%.
He's been eating
Celtics
this one
14
up
for
ever since you gave it to
43,
him.
33%. Celtics were just missing open shots. Now that they're making
Heat-
them,
but the Heat
now
didn't
that
take many threes
when
in
it's
game
when
2.
it's game time, now when the Celtics know they got to turn up and they got to really win this series, they've been doing because there ain't no way to let Jimmy Butler beat them. No way.
The Celtics were taking more open shots and still made less open shots than the Heat.
No, but I'm saying the 3-point number is amazing. But in game 2, the Celtics made more threes.
I
than the
understand,
Heat.
but the first 3 games,
Yes,
the Heat took less and still made more.
Yeah, well, the game 3 was just an ass whooping. I just came out.
Game 2,
flat.
I believe. What was the percentage for each team?
They
They were
said
both
made
low.
9 or 10
The
threes,
Heat made 9. The Celtics made 10. That was just straight mid-range layup, food.
It was a
Jimmy.
low-ish.
It was a low-scoring game. So I mean, like the 3-point discrepancies. The first game was probably nasty, the nasty one.
This is going to add to Jason Tatum's legacy right here.
You needed to
These
because
next 2
if
games.
Jimmy does this, goes to the finals, you'll be upset. And if
Not
Jimmy,
really, they'll just lose anyway.
I'll tell you what, man. He's saving face with the Kawhi Leonard debate. He is saving face.
Tatum's
Jason
oh yeah,
Tatum.
facts.
He's been. Did you
been
see?
balling.
I think John was on Rudy's podcast. I'm diving deep.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And he had the question: who has the most 40-point games in the playoffs? Do you know who's number 1 between Jimmy Butler, Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum?
Probably Tatum.
Jason Tatum in significantly less time, and he has significantly more than all. He has 19 40-point games in the playoffs.
I think he has more games logs than like Jimmy Butler though.
Is that yours?
In the playoffs?
I don't know if it was
Yeah, I mean, he's been in the
I
playoffs. He's been in the
think he has more
ECF damn
games
near
logged.
every
And I
year of
think
his career.
Kawhi
except
has missed like 2, 3.
Chris
years
Paul's
before.
been in the league for 17, 18 years, whatever it is. You have Jimmy Butler, who's been
Why
in
do
the
you use
playoffs
Chris Paul?
because he's been in the league long.
forever. Yeah.
That's why.
Well,
He's
Tatum,
not a scorer.
They're making long playoff run after long playoff
and you
run.
know
his
Kawhi's
whole
not a
career.
scorer either, but he's obviously a playoff great.
What you mean?
He's not like a 40 prolific scorer.
That's
like
because
that.
Jimmy just started doing this in Miami. James
What's
Harden has
Kawhi's
more.
excuse?
James Harden has more 30-point and 40-point playoff games than Jimmy Butler. He has more playoff wins than Jimmy Butler. But somehow this 4-year stretch just undermines everything this guy's ever done.
Well,
in his
because
career. I don't understand it.
In 4 years, James Harden has put up stinker.
And everybody loves to talk about recency bias. There's a ton of recency bias with what Jimmy Butler has been doing.
It's been the last 3 years. That's a good amount of time, bro.
It's not going to happen next year. I'll guarantee you that. It ain't happening 1 out of 4 years.
What's Harden going to do next year?
I don't know. What team is going to be
Again,
on?
like,
What team is he
you
going to
keep
be
trying to
on?
Jimmy Butler's not your favorite player.
No. But he's throwing slight at Jimmy Butler when he's obviously defending the Miami Heat.
That's
I
true.
get it.
But he's more of a Bam guy than a Jimmy
love
Butler
Bam.
guy.
Series is coming down to 3 things. It's going to be who hits more 3-point shots. Each team has to limit turnovers because Miami turnovers killed them in Game 5.
Facts.
And it's just which stars show up. To me, I am trusting Tatum and Brown.
Never thought I'd see this day.
And
ever in
Derek
my
White.
life. What's
Derek
going
White,
on?
victory.
That Christian Wood, Derek White debate. We didn't forget that, buddy.
We did not.
You
didn't.
literally, you know
wasn't
what?
even here.
No, he texted me, and he said they're bugging for taking White over Christian Wood. He texted me, and so the fact that he flipped
real
on
new.
me,
Yeah,
I mean,
he
come on,
flipped
bro.
on me
Real
just
new.
now
What are
is
we doing?
insane. But
Derek White.
the Game 6 Heat stuff is real. I expect Jimmy to show up, man. I think Jimmy's gonna have a big game.
And I also get that we're talking about the Celtics offense because, of course, they've missed a lot of open shots. That's very uncharacteristic of the Boston Celtics and essentially all season long, one of the league's best offenses. But really what's changed the way that we're projecting this series now is the level of defense that we're seeing from the Boston Celtics. They had their season high of steals. I believe they had 13 steals last night. Where Marcus Smart was amazing. Even the Jaylen Brown, the guy who can't defend any passing lanes, is a bad off-ball defender, is a bad on-ball defender, not a great playmaker. Saw him making some solid passes yesterday. Has his best game of the season when his back's against the wall in an elimination game. Jaylen Brown.
At you, Riff.
So that's really what it comes down to. It's this Celtics defense seems more locked in, seems more focused. And when you are locked in defensively, it immediately translates to the offensive side of the ball because you have a little bit more confidence on your side. We're seeing Derek White be consistent. He's been one of their most consistent players all ECF long. Now maybe Jaylen Brown starts to wake up. Jason Tatum has been, for the most part of this series, very, very good. And if Jaylen Brown can get it together, that's really what's been the difference in this series. Jaylen Brown not being himself. And Malcolm Brogdon, he had an injury yesterday. We don't know his status for the upcoming game. But Grant Williams coming in and giving great minutes this series. He's been knocked down himself also. The defense that he's been playing as well. This Boston Celtics, Joel said it very well, that Mazzulis in the press conference said, the assistant said, you have 9 months in a season. You have 1 bad week. You don't want to have the bad week in the Eastern Conference Finals. That is absolutely not ideal. But once you realize, hey, we're the Boston Celtics. We've been one of the best teams offensively and defensively this year. We just need to play our style of basketball. Let's not press. We're stressing way too much about the little things. Let's just play our brand of basketball, and they should be all right. And Game 6, this is the series.
Yeah.
This is the series. If Miami Heat want to win, it is Game 6 because I promise you if it goes 7, there is no way I could bet on the Celtics losing.
Celtics are 9-10 at home.
That's
not good.
That's
Not
the
good.
one silver lining if you're a
In
Miami
the last
Heat fan.
2 or 3 playoffs, I believe. I think it's
They
the last
have
2 playoffs.
the Boston Celtics have struggled at home, surprisingly. Against Philadelphia, they dropped two games against them. They've lost the 2 games to start this series to the Miami Heat. That's the one silver lining, the saving grace if you're a Miami Heat fan. But momentum is real. And if you lose that Game 6 in Miami, because Miami has a great home court, they do. But if they lose that Game 6, I don't see a way that the Celtics do
pick a
not
winner,
win.
buddy.
I said the Celtics. I'm taking the Celtics.
Oh, you taking the Celtics?
Come
But
back.
that Game 6 is Miami Heat's best chance to win, even still.
Because then
I
the
think-
pressure's really on.
I think Boston is the basketball that we've seen them play the last 2 games has been some of the best basketball that we've seen out of
But
the
you look
Boston
at
Celtics.
it, going 3-1. Ironically, the lead that Steph Curry blew in the finals. 20.
Kevin Durant blew the same lead.
Not in the finals.
Yeah, he blew it to the guy who lost in the finals.
Not as bad as the finals. Finals is worse.
Yeah, because he can't get there.
I don't know. That guy who blew the 3-1 lead not in the finals ended up joining that team. So
And then he got 2 finals MVP from that.
And then he
was
got
best player on-
swept to the
he was best player on
Celtics, the
those
team that
teams.
Steph beat.
and yeah, that same year.
Exactly same year. Actually had a historical performance.